The Texas A&M Aggies, who were hot of late, have done the unthinkable, dropping their first two games to the Missouri Tigers, and everything at this point is up in the air. Postseason chances, the future of Michael Earley. Aggie fans are reeling, and we are here to break it all down and discuss in this emergency show, if you will. Everyone, I'm Chris Phillips. He is Jake Mckeever. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, check us out via podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, you can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we're powered by our friends over at FANDUEL. Visit FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FANDUEL.com/SECU to get $200 in bonus bets. Today, the reason we are here, Texas A&M. They did the unthinkable last night. They gave Missouri really earned it, but they allowed Missouri to win their first conference game of the season. Today, they one-upped that. Missouri takes the series in College Station. The Aggies tomorrow will try to avoid the sweep. We're here live on this Saturday night. Thank you to all those tuned in live, by the way, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, what have you, those listening podcasts. We appreciate you as well. I'm here with my guy, Jake Mckeever. And, guys, I'll give you the full story. Jake texted me, said, Chris, we got to go live. Of course, you all know by now, Jake Mckeever, our resident Aggie. So this one hits a little bit deeper. This one cuts a little bit deeper. I was watching the game probably from about the sixth inning on.
Well, Chris, I want to stop you. I'm a resident Princeton Tiger. You know, I'm
resident Princeton Tiger. Okay.
That's my allegiance.
I can't keep up with which Ivy League school you guys are pulling for. I really can't. Anyways, Jake, I will say I'm glad you text me, though, because this we would have talked about on Monday, obviously, but this probably does deserve immediate attention. Texas A&M, one of the most fascinating stories of this season. You know, get off to that horrific start. For a moment there, you weren't sure they were going to win a single SEC series. Then the Tennessee series happens, and they go on a run over the next few weeks, you know, beating Arkansas on the road. I just mentioned the Tennessee series. Obviously, which one am I missing? Another big one they had. LSU, obviously, last weekend beat the Tigers at Bluebell 2 of 3. That big home run on Sunday by Caden Sorrell. I don't know that many were suspecting that this weekend was a potential pitfall, but now here we sit with A&M allowing 6 runs in the top of the ninth last night and losing today, nearly getting shut out. That's the one thing you can hang your hat on. Score run in the bottom of the ninth. And it was an unearned run. Yes, the shortstop absolutely blundered that ball, but losing 4-1, Missouri wins the series. I'll just open it up to you. Let me hear it.
So we talked about it yesterday a little bit on Friday Night Spikes, that they went from a team that, okay, you know, they have all these really great wins. They can probably get in with 13 to pushing it down into 14. And then today, I mean, we just saw just a lethargic effort from the hitting. They were getting no hit until the 5th, I believe. I'm going to be honest, I actually didn't get a chance to watch this game because I was watching Texas come back to beat Florida. So the wheels is going to hit like crazy. But, you know, initial thoughts, just looking at the box score, it looked like a team that felt like their fate was closed last night is really, I think, the general vibe is, you know, there's 2 ways to get up. You can either get up off the mat and still kind of fight, or, you know, you can kind of piddle around. I think that was kind of the second one. Just an unreal roller coaster of a season. You know, they still have Georgia, but I think the RPI number is just going to be too crazy for them to get in with the 13-win mark. And then the SEC tournament, I mean, who knows how much they're going to value that, but just a catastrophic failure, I think, of a season for them. Again, they're probably the best. Those 10 wins are probably some of the 10 best wins in the country. And then those 15 wins in the SEC or 15 losses are just some of the worst. You know, not stealing one from Alabama on Sunday, not stealing one at Vandy, losing Saturday to Kentucky, losing these 2 to Missouri. I mean, there's just a plethora of opportunities that, you know, this Texas A&M team just squandered. And ultimately, you know, they really have no one to blame but themselves. Like, it was a team effort, if you will, for them. And it's going to be interesting to see where they go from here. there's starting to be some rumblings heard from some good sources, but it's just a catastrophic failure. And actually, Chris, I actually feel a little bit blindsided. I thought we were going to get on and talk about the Pope. About my Catholic opinion of the new Pope.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know that this is one. You mentioned you were at Texas, Florida, obviously. I don't know that you really need to see a whole lot of how it happened, because I don't think there's a good rhyme or reasoning of how it happened that's going to make you feel any better about it if you're a fan of the Texas A&M Aggies. I mean, it's a team in Missouri that came in defeated in conference play, defeated one of the worst pitching staffs in the country, certainly the worst in the SEC.
They had an ERA of 15, and they had used their bullpen more than anybody in the entire country. They out-hit A&M 11-2 today. They out-hit them last night, too, as well. So it's not like you can sit here and say, like, oh, like when Arkansas loses in a regional every year, you're like, oh, well, they just kind of ran into a home run and couldn't get away with it. Like, Missouri outplayed them both games today.
Yeah.
And just uncompetitive at bats. The A&M bullpen again. They did get used a lot. Ideally, you would think that, using your bullpen for 7 innings, only allowing 4 runs. But the flip side of that is Missouri goes 7 innings with their bullpen and only allows a single run.
And that looked like a team, Jake, after the game. You see the screenshots. They looked like they knew what opportunity they had squandered. I think there was a combination of embarrassment, but also, like, I think A&M's probably got to win tomorrow, sweep Georgia?
I don't even think that would be enough. I mean, their RPI's in the 50s right now. And there's a lot of bubble teams right around that number. And they're and
then you just have the question of, do they really deserve to be in? I mean, like you said, they have some of the best series wins, but and you can't take this away from them, but if it was a different team that wasn't preseason ranked number 1, that wasn't the consensus favorite to win it all by everybody in the preseason, if this was just some random team, I don't even think we're having a conversation. Like, I don't even think they're remotely.
If it was Kentucky or South Carolina.
Right. We're not even having a conversation.
I mean, Mississippi State, granted, they've kind of played themselves into it a little bit, but, if they were in this position with the out-of-conference that they had, and, the flip side of it is a lot can be said about the wins that they have, but the flip side of that is they have 3 wins against South Carolina. Mm-hmm. So they're sitting at 7. They had a chance, again, this is just a squandered opportunity for a team that had everything in front of them. Mm-hmm. The battered Aggie syndrome is flaring up. It's not enough.
Jay, you know what I'm most mad about, and I don't know how many people in the chat or listening to this show right now will even know what I'm talking about, but for a moment on Thursday, I posted the wrong graphic that had all of us picking Missouri instead of us picking A&M, and that should have been the sign right there.
Oh,
like imagine if we had kept that graphic up, and it's like, what do these 3 guys at SEC Unfiltered know that we don't? We would have looked like the smartest people in the history of college baseball ever. That, or we had the fix in.
My favorite one was somebody, I didn't know if it was on y'all's or on Micah's. I think it was on yours. Somebody with who's the Asian comedian?
I don't know.
God, what's his name? Bobby Lee. Somebody with Bobby Lee as their profile picture tweeted that Missouri was going to take 2 of 3 this weekend.
You could have gotten Mizzou, I believe, plus 1,200 last night money line and plus 750 today because I checked. Plus 750, you could have got a money line. All right.
Which, by the way, I did get a winning ticket from somebody in my DMs.
Really?
Bet 5 paid out 42 on Missouri money line today. So solid bet. Sharp. Shout out to that guy.
Yeah, very sharp. You mentioned our friend Micah. We've got a guest appearance. Micah is going to join us. We're going to bring it in right now. Micah Butel, founder of Just Means Less ACC, talks baseball for College Baseball Central. One of the best follows on social media, and is just all over the college baseball world. We're going to bring him in. He's rocking the MIZ hat just to spite Jake. Hey, you know what? Good for Carrick Jackson, Micah. Yeah, good for Carrick Jackson.
Not
good for Carrick Jackson.
There was this really wise Twitter guy when he was driving back from Omaha that said Missouri would make it to Omaha in the next 3 years. And today was proof that that's going to happen. So just remember this moment 3 years from now. But no, I mean, talk about, absolutely craziness. I mean, I actually really like this hat, my name being
that is a fire hat.
It's very simple, very clean,
Yeah.
works for, obviously my name being what it is. But
is that what it's for? Is for Micah?
Yeah,
I mean, it works. It works,
Yeah.
dude.
You're rocking it like
Mizzou's got
Liam Doyle
fire
though.
baseball unis. They've got fire. I mean,
I
yellow
like
and
it.
black, man. It's a good combo.
I like their gray. They're kind of it's a darker gray than everybody else. Micah, why are you wearing your hat like Liam Doyle now?
What do you mean?
No, Liam Doyle will be a lot more higher on the head. Liam Doyle will be like his hat's not even on.
No, the thing is, it's straight on. It's the M slanted. You have to remember that. So it looks off. Like that's the center of the hat. It is literally straight on. Like I don't know. Like if I wear it like this, it's sideways. If I wear it like that, it's sideways. This is straight on, Jake. I don't know what you want from me, but it's straight on.
I don't know if I like that logo anymore.
Mike, I appreciate you jumping on, man. It's good to chat, good to talk baseball with you. We really appreciate it. I want to get your take on Michael Earley. I feel like you and we've both voiced our opinions on this throughout the season. I think at times I play the bad guy, whether I lean into that or not, what have you. But I know you're a big Michael Earley guy. Thoughts on Michael Earley, thoughts on the program. I'm really curious now at this point in the season, fresh off this Mizzou loss. What are you thinking here with Michael Earley?
I mean, I've talked to so many coaches that think that he has potential, but that's the thing. This is a business, and sometimes potential isn't enough. Like that's the thing that I think, Jake, you said it when we talked on the phone earlier. It's the matter of again, at the end of the day, what is A&M standard? Is A&M standard 3-4 years, give it time to build, or is it we're investing now, let's go win now? I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I need to go back and look. I don't know the last time recently the number one overall or preseason number one, especially unanimous number one, might miss the NCAA tournament. And that's where the concern lies. And I mean, yeah, they've obviously been issued a very difficult schedule. I mean, they've played every top team in the SEC, but they've also played pretty much every bottom team too. So it's kind of like, why are you winning the big ones, but then losing the ones you shouldn't? I mean, obviously the South Carolina sweep is what it is, but they're 3 outs away from potentially not sweeping that series. And maybe that series goes differently against South Carolina if they don't have that insane comeback in the 9th. So, I mean,
Or LSU runs into a cheap home run in either one of their 2 wins. I don't think they're coming back from.
And I think that's like, it's funny because preseason number 1 and preseason number 2 were Virginia and A&M. Virginia is sitting at 29-16 with a worse RPI, but they also had 3 games against Florida State canceled that killed their RPI. They're obviously playing much better baseball right now than A&M is. And it's so strange because it's crazy to think. I mean, coming into the weekend, I didn't even think about A&M missing the tournament. And now here we are. And I mean, I put out a poll about 30 minutes ago because I'm genuinely just curious. Does 13 wins, if that means you got a series win on the road against another RPI top 10 team, top 5 team probably in Georgia, does that justify it? Because that probably brings – because, Jake, I know before I hopped on to join, I was listening. You mentioned, the RPI being 50. If they win the series against Georgia, according to Needs Report, they're in the top 40. So it's not like they're going to be – if they win that series, it's not like their RPI is going to keep them out. It's a matter of whether or not you're going to be able to justify 13 SEC wins is enough to get them in.
And typically 13 is that magic number, right? But I think some of it with the committee is going to be –
let me pull up the graphic.
Yeah, some of it's just going to be like, are you deserving? I mean, and I know there's a lot more crunching the numbers and everything that goes into that, but that's where my mind goes. Is this A&M team deserving of being in the postseason?
And my thought process is I think A&M, if they get to 13, should be in, because I think if you I'm always a big fan of the truth serum question. If you gave the number 14 overall seed, so the number 1 seed with 14th seed truth serum, and said, would you want to play Texas A&M in your regional? I think most teams are going to say no because they know what they're capable of. I know obviously they haven't always shown it, but I don't think you want to see that lineup and that rotation in your regional. I don't think you do. I know they've had plenty of bad moments, but They did win a series on the road at Arkansas. They did win a series on the road at Knoxville. They did win the series against LSU, who right now is looking like they have the argument to be the best team in college baseball.
Here you go, Chris. 13 of 29 teams with 13 SEC wins have made the tournament. All three made it last year. 14 wins gets you 70%. 15 gets you 78%. Last year, Florida, who was hotly contested, they had an RPI of 10. South Carolina had an RPI of 23. Alabama had an RPI of 28.
We're assuming this would be assuming too they bounce back, win tomorrow, and then take 2 or 3 in Athens.
I mean, it was this was like losing a midweek to like a HBCU levels of RPI killing, which is ironic because Missouri lost to a few HBCUs.
I know, that's why I was laughing. They lost in that tournament to those HBCUs. And then they got to go to Georgia and play Georgia at Foley, where Georgia's one of the best teams in the country on their home field. So I think if they get to 13, Mike, I would say they probably need to win at least 1 in Hoover for me to feel like good about it. I mean,
you never really know how they're going to treat Hoover, though. That's the other thing.
Especially, I mean, I don't know if that changes this year with the single elim. I don't know if it's more valuable, less valuable, same.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be one of those things where, I mean, even committee by committee, because if you remember correctly, it's not the same 12 guys who decide stuff. It's, cycles of different. Like, I was talking to somebody about it. Like, remember in 22 where Bama and Kentucky both went on runs in the SEC tournament, make it to the semifinals? That didn't really do anything for the other 2 bubble teams.
Mike, I was talking to Jake and Harrison about this. I think it was last night. I'll pose this to you. It's been fun over the last few weeks to talk about A&M, seeing them come to life, seeing this team finally live up to some type of expectations, preseason expectations. I mean, I think everybody essentially had them in Omaha in their preseason, Omaha 8.
I had them in Omaha 8 just this past Monday.
Right. And I mean, I was one of them that had them in the preseason Omaha 8 for sure and thought they could, same as you, kind of go on a run. The reality is this, though. Like, I think the only way at this point this season you could have looked at as a success is if they would have made that run to Omaha. Like, you adjust expectations in season to, man, if they were able to rebound from the start, get to the postseason, that would be, in the micro, a success. But this season has been an unmitigated failure is the point I'm trying to get to. Like, no matter what. I think this season was Omaha or bust for them with this roster.
Oh, Mike and I had 2 schools of thought, if you will. Mike, do you want to tell them your theory? Because its name eludes me right now. About firing a coach like this. What if I forget what we were talking about it? But the Steve Robertson theory, he proposed this with Mississippi State. If you're debating on firing a coach, would LSU stand for something like this happening at their baseball program? And if you're spending money at the rate that LSU is for baseball, your coaches should be held to the same standard that LSU's coaches are to. And if LSU was sitting at, right on the outskirts of that bubble, losing to statistically the worst team in SEC history, would they fire their coach? And every single LSU fan in the country would say that they would.
Bro, LSU fans want to fire their coach, and they're top 5 in the country right now. Some of them do.
I meant the rational one. The rational one.
I know. I'm half joking, but some of them really do want to fire Jay Johnson for whatever reason. No, and it's, I shouldn't have to preface it with this, but I will, because people will take things and run with them and there's no context. Like, I like Michael Earley. It's nothing personal with Michael Earley. Like, he seems like a great dude. Everybody I talk to in College Station loves the guy. But it's like Michael was saying, you just look at it in the day. It's like, dude, I don't think you're going to have a better roster. I mean,
I think
this is you took the Bentley and literally crashed it in the ditch.
I'll say this about Michael Earley specifically. I don't think he was given the Bentley. I think he got a little bit of a pump and up, if you will. He came into a team that the leaving coach left at the last second, so their guys could only leave the portal. They couldn't utilize the portal. From the signees that they got in the portal, while Schloss was still at A&M versus what they got at Texas. That part's really kind of up for debate. But I think that, you should really applaud Michael Earley. For one, Trev Alberts was completely blindsided by the Schloss thing and had no chance to do a coaching search, A. B, Michael Earley had no chance to develop a roster. I think that Michael Earley's done as good of a job as somebody could have. And I know that sounds crazy to say to a team that's missing the tournament. I don't think that this is Michael Earley being a bad coach. Like, every single coach in the entire country will say that the best teams are player-led. And I just think it's on the players at this point. You're the one that went and fought for these guys, for Michael Earley to get the job for Texas A&M. And you reward him by losing 2 straight to Missouri. Like, really big credit to Michael Earley for sticking it out. Really big credit for Michael Earley to come back to Texas A&M because he didn't have to come back to Texas A&M. And I don't know who A&M would have got last summer if Michael Earley doesn't come back. You don't know what A&M's roster looks like if Michael Earley doesn't come back. So credit to Michael Earley for coming back, taking a step out of his comfort zone. But at the end of the day, it really does have to fall on the players.
I agree and disagree with some of what you said, Jake, just from the standpoint of he was the player's choice. But this is living proof once again why you don't allow the players to make the coaching hire. Like the player's coach from the standpoint of like the player's buddy is probably not always the best choice. Like, you can say whatever you want about Jim Schlossnagle, that he's this and that off the field, on the field, he's whatever, he's this. I mean, think all the negative shit that came out about him when he left and from TCU, but he wins.
He's not their buddy either.
And he's not their buddy. He gets the most out of them. He's a cuss, but he's the same mean cuss to everybody. And
I should say that Early's had like a ton of fire, and he has not been their friend coach, if you will. Like, for example, Sarlos, I think, is a really big players coach. He behaves in the dugout like a Tony V, like he's barking at every single thing. Mikey, you can attest to it. I just think, we've talked to a few coaches that turned it down because it was just an unwinnable situation. I think it was just the inevitable looking back on it. There were so many, I had a coach tell me, you should really give Mike a pass because this isn't Mike's team, this is Schloss's team. And Mike and Schloss have completely different hitting philosophies. But at the end of the day, Trev didn't get to do a coaching search. It was very scrambled. It was very last minute. I think, again, he hasn't been fired officially yet, by the way. I want to point that out there.
No. I mean, he could be back. I mean, listen, like, maybe there's something bigger behind the scenes. You would know better than I would. I mean,
yeah, and I mean, I'll say this: like, Trev didn't like. We always talk about ADs that when a new AD comes in and there's a coach that's underperforming, hey, so and so didn't hire this guy, or even GMs like, hey, Red Sox, this GM didn't sign Rafi Devers to this long-term extension. Like, no one is safe. I mean, that really is kind of what happened with Travis. He didn't get a chance to go in and hire a guy. Like, I remember every day that went by, people, and not just like your regular, Jace Lavallette's jockstrap burner accounts freaking out. Like, legitimate A&M like boosters and media people were freaking out every day that went by that A&M didn't have a coach. And that just puts tremendous pressure on Trev. Doesn't allow you to do the due diligence. I mean, we've talked about coaches that have turned that job down. If Michael Earley turns that job down, I legitimately don't know who they go get. Like, do you go get David Pierce, who just got fired from Texas? Like, there's like maybe 5 coaches that you could see, but it sucks that it went down the way that it did with Michael Earley. I think Michael Earley is a fantastic hitting coach. The players really love him. I think he's a fantastic recruiter. I just think that the expectations of this season, I don't think anybody could have lived up to them.
So here's my thing, and this is a genuine question, or maybe question/comment. I fully support Michael Earley. I'm not even ruling them out. Like, I'm not saying the season's over yet. I know it feels like the sky is falling. Weird things have happened in baseball. But here's what I'll say. Paul Maneri is getting crucified right now with 26 wins. Michael Earley has 27. So that's something that, like, every time I try to be very positive about Michael Earley, I look at this, like, I look at the numbers and I just see I get both sides. I like every time I want to try to like defend him, it's hard to, right? Because at the end of the day, right? I mean, this is SEC baseball, right? My whole thing is it just means less than the ACC because we don't necessarily lose sleep after one season. That's not the same thing in College Station. That's not the same thing in 95% of the SEC.
Chris, I do have an update for you on South Carolina, by the way.
Well, and I was going to add to Mike, I'm going to let you continue, but you also mentioned the 26 and 27 winning comparisons, and that's the South Carolina roster is terrible, and I think we knew it was bad coming in. This is 27 wins with a roster that even without Gavin Grahovic, it should be a roster good enough to host a read.
Yeah,
I mean, that was why you probably were Omaha 8 projections just a week, and I was thinking they could make noise because like on paper you still have 3 horses that are all legitimate big time studs. It could be ones anywhere else. You still have Jace Lavalette. You still have a stacked lineup in some regard. Like it still doesn't make a lot of sense. Like it just doesn't make a lot of sense how they are.
It's unfathomable. Like that. Missouri's team ERA being what it is, that they take A&M shutty with 2 outs into the 9th. It's just But as far as Pulmonary goes, by the way, I did get a little bit of an update on that. I had a really good source tell me there's not a world where Pulmonary gets fired.
Really?
He has a $5 million buyout. He has one of the highest paid assistant staffs in the SEC. Everybody's going to make fun of Seth. They're like, which you broke ass. I don't think there's any SEC school that would pay $5 million to buy somebody out, by the way.
Well, yeah, Monty Lee's making $750 a year as an assistant too. So, yeah,
for reference, Missouri's team ERA was 8.80 coming into this weekend with 3 saves. They now have 2 against Texas A&M. Opponents were batting .314 against them.
I mean, Jake, you nailed it when we talked. I mean, 2 hits against this Missouri team Michael Earley's a hitting coach. That is a serious problem. And they had 2 hits after the 3rd last night, and one of them, Wyatt Hensler, poked one where the second baseman would have been if they hadn't shifted. And then they get no hit the first 6. It's just unfathomable. Like, it really is.
Boys, before we close it out, final thoughts. It's a rough night in College Station. I don't know. There's still, like Micah said, though, there's still baseball to be played. I mean, it's a weird game. It's a funny game because it's such a long season and so much can change. Just ask Florida. Just ask Mississippi State. Heck, just ask Arkansas in the negative way. Ask Tennessee in the negative way. Like it can flip.
San Diego.
Well, we would know more about San Diego than I would. But
the best 500 team in college baseball.
Yeah, they were 20-4 in the WCC.
But I want to get you guys closing thoughts on just A&M state of this season now and bigger picture state of the program. Jake, starting with you, just
I said this to Michael last night, when I was driving back, and I think I still kind of stand by it. I don't think I've ever seen a program-defining inning like the top of the 9th against Missouri. I think it sets back the program 2-3 years. Where they choose to go from here, that's really going to be up to Trev Alberts and a few of the brass. But it's a program-defining loss from probably the place that you least expect it, and it was from Caden Wilson and Weston Moss, the 2 guys that A&M rode the hardest from a bullpen standpoint this entire year. And it'll be interesting to see where A&M goes from here. If they retain Michael Earley, what it looks like from a recruiting standpoint with NIL buy-in and stuff like that, with the optics of it. I think that's something they always do have to track. But dark days ahead in College Station.
Micah?
So this just popped up on the timeline. I don't know if you guys remember this Baseball America preview article that, the cover of the college baseball preview for Baseball America. So yikes. But I think for me, the part that stinks is I still believe that A&M can do it. I do. None of this makes sense to me. It really doesn't. Like you said, the talent is there. I just don't understand why it doesn't want to click sometimes. It feels like they're pressing too much. They've got obviously one more tomorrow with Missouri. Win that one. You have to win that one. If you get swept, your season's over at that point. But if you win tomorrow, you have a chance with Georgia, and you're probably going to get Florida in your first game, which is going to be at this point obviously one of the tougher outs to get on that first day in Hoover. But if you get that one, you kind of open a Pandora's box of who knows. I mean, it's very clear this A&M team is a big confidence driven team. So if they get hot, they got a chance. But right now, I mean, kudos to Missouri. I think you have to give them some credit. But, I mean, Missouri did the same thing they did pretty much all SEC play in the ninth inning tonight. They tried to give A&M a chance, and they just didn't take advantage. So,
yeah, I'll leave it with this. I agree with you and can't say it enough. It does not make sense. I felt as sure as anything that, I placed a preseason bet on Texas A&M to win the national championship, along with some others. But I was like, we got to sprinkle some on this roster. This team, them getting to Omaha, felt like the most sure bet of them all. Them being a top 8 national seed at minimum. I mean, it was a lock. It felt like, I go to the Paul Skeens quote from a few days ago, where he was asked if he was surprised that their manager got fired, and he said, I mean, no, I'm not surprised. What are we, 12-27, 12-26? Like, somebody's got to be held accountable. I know it's year one, but man, somebody has to be held accountable for this. I'm sorry. Like, I just, unless, again, I'm not behind closed doors, and I'm really not pulling for any one thing to happen, right? Like, I'm really not. So I'm just coming from my perspective. But something has to change after this year. And the roster will change, obviously. And I don't know how much better the roster can get or will get, but something has to give after this year. To me, the Michael Earley experiment, unless there's something else that I'm unaware of or that was sabotaging things behind closed doors and if they make that adjustment, so be it. But I don't know, man. I would not blame A&M at all for saying, you know what, we gave it a shot. We handed the keys over to the guy who's never been a head coach before at any level. Great hitting coach, never been a head coach. It's a different seat. It's different when you're in that seat, and it backfired. And we got to go a different direction. So, I won't blame them if they do it. Season's not over. A lot of baseball left, but I don't know, man. I just don't know how you come. I don't know how you come back from this. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't see a world where you come back from this.
It's hard. Yeah, yes, if they, they very well may win tomorrow, but like if they go in and beat Georgia, yeah, they're going to go beat Georgia. Do they have the talent? Sure, but they're going to go on the road and beat Georgia, a team that at home is one of the best in the country. And even if they do that, and even if they make the postseason, again, if they don't make Omaha, we'll just go back to the fact that like this season was still at minimum an unmitigated disaster with what you had coming into this season. Like, this was an Omaha or bust kind of team, and you just are going to probably come nowhere close.
I mean, think about the idea of if we said preseason, 13 SEC teams, 14 SEC teams, but at this point, 13 SEC teams make the NCAA tournament. But I told you Texas A&M isn't one of them. How much would you question how much I had to drink or what I'm currently tripping off of?
No, I mean, anybody, anybody who before the start of the season went on record and said, my hot take is A&M misses the postseason entirely, your sanity would have been questioned. No doubt. So if anything, it should be inspiration. Everybody out there, make that bold take. You never know. You might be right.
Yeah, Missouri's going
to declare A&M dead because last time we did that, they went on and won a double.
I know. The last time I said they were dead was the Kentucky series, and then they went on a run. So I'm saying it again: A&M is dead. So if they win like the next 4 in a row, or 6 in a row or whatever
Georgia fans are coming for you, Chris. They just saw the pick. It's over.
Yeah, Georgia's 24-3 at home, by the way. And they've
How
never
many
lost
jinxes they want to
back-to-back
throw on the poor
games.
dogs? Goodness gracious.
They feed the trees. Have they lost a series at home this year?
Nope. They lost
Yeah.
Friday to Oklahoma, Friday to Arkansas, and Saturday to Kentucky.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Let us know in the comments. Let us know on social media. Obviously, we're going to keep this conversation going. I want to say thank you once again to our guy, Micah Butel. Follow them. What's your personal Twitter? It's at Micah what? What is it?
_CBC.
_CBC at Just Means Less ACC. They do a great job covering the ACC, even though we love to talk shit about the ACC. We love those guys over there. So make sure you follow along. Follow Jake Mckeever, myself. You guys know the drill with that. And anyways, let's keep the conversation going, man. A lot of season left, or I say a lot of season, but a lot can happen in the limited time we have left. Guys, before we get out of here, again, I want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because it's always brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The wait is over. Baseball season's finally here. You can start the season strong on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, FanDuel is celebrating the return of baseball by giving new customers $250 in bonus bets. If your first $5 bet wins, FanDuel's got so many ways for you to get in on the action, from hits to steals to home runs. They've got a lineup filled with all your favorite bets, or if pitching is more of your thing, FanDuel's got a deep bullpen of bets from strikeouts to shutout innings. So when you place your first bet, it can be almost everything, and if it hits, you'll get $250 in bonus bets. So just visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today. That's FanDuel.com/SECU. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official partners of Major League Baseball. Must be 21 and up and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and up and present in D.C. First online, real money wager only, $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bet expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777. Or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. In Maryland, Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts. Or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Once again, thank you to Michael Butel. Thank you to Jake Mckeever. And thank you to all of you for tuning in. What will happen with the Aggies? What will happen with Michael Earley? We will buckle in and see with the rest of you. So anyways, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, or get your podcast. You can also follow us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. For Michael Butel and Jake Mckeever, I am Chris Phillips. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. We will catch you all on the other side.